Hello everyone! The time for you all to be able to get your hands on Lost Carcosa is almost here. Ropacon is this week, Gen Con's next week. And I want to say a few things about it. Carcosa is one of Lamentations of the Flame Princess's classic products. We've sold many thousands of them over several printings over the years, so erroneously, I don't think I have to give the fundamentals of what Carcosa is. Just how the new edition is different than what we've done previously. Lost Carcosa is an expansion of Carcosa. And you see, we got 3 different covers. But Lost Carcosa is an expansion of Carcosa, with loads of added material, taking it from the 288 pages of the older edition to 464 pages. We didn't touch the old layout, and the new material is done in the same layout style as the previous printings of LOTFP Carcosa. The expanded edition includes the 4 Carcosa adventures author Jeffrey McKinney published in 2016 on his own, converted to, Carcosa stats. There's also a brand new section, Names on Carcosa, with naming conventions for all of the tribes of man as well as Cthulhuid names. We've also compiled lists of human and saurian settlements by tribe, race, color, whatever you want to call it, for easy reference. Okay, so that's what this is. So now's the tough part. And I know it's bad salesmanship to be defensive about pricing, but I'm not a good salesman, and I'd rather tell you up front and tell you why it's priced this way, rather than have to do this 100 times at conventions and in emails with people asking, seriously? So here goes. Lost Carcosa is being priced at 145 euros before taxes or shipping. We're selling 600 copies of Lost Carcosa individually, 200 each of each cover variant, with our break even on the project being 150 total copies sold. This thing really does cost to manufacture on a per unit basis more than the 3 Disastrum books combined, 50% more than the 3 Disastrum books combined, more than Don't Fuck the Priest or the Terror in the Street boxes. So let me tell you why. First is the LOTFP standard. We use 3mm cover boards, which is thicker than standard, and for hardcover books we always use sewn binding. It's been like 1 or 2 exceptions in our catalog for hardcovers where we haven't done that for whatever reason, but these are definite sewn binding. And so these books are put together solid as fuck. Just demonstrating minimum quality standards there, that the books don't fucking fall apart. And now I've messed that up. So, yeah. So that's the first thing. Then there's the page count. 464 pages is the largest single book we've ever done. The 3 Disastrum volumes add up to 416 pages. Nebulith is 304. Veins of the Earth was 368. And economies of scale matter in book printing. Printing a 464-page book for 3,000 copies would cost a lot less per unit than, say, the 666 copies we're doing. Yeah, the interiors of the book are identical for all 3 covers. A lot of LOTFP releases feature foiling. Nebulith has foiling on it. The Disastrum books all have foiling. Even Altar of Madness last year has a foiled cover. Now, as the printer tells me, each foiling plate has a fixed cost. So in the case of Nebulith, that cost of the foiling plate got spread over 3,000 copies. Disastrum, each cover had its own design, so that, but still, 2,000 of each book were printed, so the cost of each plate spread over 2,000 copies. Altar of Madness, had the cost of this foiling spread over the 1,000 copies we printed for that. We are printing 222 copies of each of the Lost Carcosa cover variants, including those going in the slipcase sets. More about the slipcase in a bit. That means each foiling plate costs on a per unit basis 4.5 times on Lost Carcosa than the foiling plate on Altar of Madness. And we've got 2 different foiled colors on each cover. Then there's the cover material itself. The original LOTFP Carcosa, that had a special cover material here. And to me, it didn't make sense to have our limited reprint be any less than that. So each of these covers are a special material. But here again, economies of scale matter, and ordering X amount of a special material is going to cost more per X than ordering 5X of it. And this isn't standard material used on a lot of books. The printer has never used this material before, so it had to be specially ordered from the manufacturer for use in this project. And then the fold-outs. Each copy of Lost Carcosa, let me use this one, that has 2 attachments on the front and back covers. And sorry, this is a little awkward doing this facing away from me. But yeah, each copy of Lost Carcosa has fold-outs, which fold out to A2 size. And I'm really not doing well with these jackets, but yeah, but then on the back cover as well, same deal. You get the idea. And I will fold that when I can look at it directly later. The fold out. The 2 fold outs folding out to an A2 size sheet. Each of those had to be specially folded by hand because the order of the folds is important to what information is immediately available, and then each had to be glued to the cover in a specific spot, again by hand. I don't know how huge a deal that was, but still, that was work done by hand in Finland by a company paying Finnish wages. And that's the last thing. Not special for Lost Carcosa, but pretty much everything we do across the LOTFP line, we print right here in Finland. Finland has been my home for over 20 years now, and the business was established in Finland, is run out of Finland, and we manufacture domestically whenever possible. We've done some booklets and convention flyers in the countries those conventions happen in. Special dice we do in Poland, because I don't believe there even is a manufacturer for custom dice in Finland. And yeah, I'll do t-shirts in Germany or the US, depending on where they're primarily going to be sold. But our core products, books, we do right here in Finland. There are some practical and logistics reasons for that, but in the end, it is more expensive to print in Finland than, say, Estonia or Latvia or China. And, the difference isn't as huge for smaller projects, but like for a big one, I'm guessing, I didn't even price this anywhere else, but I'm guessing the difference would be more profound if it's a more expensive project. But I choose to print in Finland anyway because it's important to me. I would say, other people may disagree, but I would say Lamentations of the Flame Princess does not act explicitly politically in a lot of ways. Most of my personal political opinions have jack and shit to do with LOTFP, and that's evidenced by the fact that I work with all sorts of people who hold a lot of different beliefs than me, both to my left and to my right. And most of how I behave politically when it comes to LOTFP has to do with free speech issues, both in terms of content and who's allowed to be doing stuff. But I do believe politically and economically that outsourcing manufacturing overseas is not great. I am proud to invest in the country that has taken me in, and I think it's something of a disgrace that people and companies go overseas to manufacture what is essentially a luxury item. And what else is a book that shows you how to play pretend in a specific way, if not a luxury item? Not to mention that we shouldn't rely on supply chains that can be so easily disrupted by political or environmental issues, and the past handful of years have shown that's not a hypothetical concern, so we should limit that dependency as much as possible. And, especially books. All I hear, all I see is how less people are reading in general. Every year, less and less, and physical media being less popular than ever. And it's like, if you don't want these things to go away, you have to support the entire infrastructure of what gets them in your hand. And I think there should be domestic printers for domestic publishing companies, no matter what country we're talking about, no matter where domestic is. And I put my money where my mouth is as far as where I print, in the hope that what it adds to the final price tag for the customers doesn't sink me. And I mean, it's so tempting to try out like a cheapo Chinese printer for the freebie books we do every so often. But even those, here in Finland for the most part. Those distributed through the US web store, we do print those in the US. So all of those reasons is why Lost Carcosa costs 145 euros before tax or shipping. It is not because fuck you pricing. And just a note, the slipcase version, it'll be a hand-numbered shrink wrap set that has all 3 cover variants in it. The slipcase itself will be made with special cover material with 2 foiled colors. And remember last year when I did the slipcase for the Altar of Madness and Ericazon combo, and it added like 100 euros to the final price? That was just a printed, no-flash slipcase, 110 copies. The fancy slipcase we're doing for Lost Carcosa, 22 sets will be made available. Pricing is not yet set, but there will be 3 Lost Carcosas plus a slipcase that has a per unit manufacturing cost, my cost, in the 3 figures. The final price for the customer, it's going to be eye-wateringly expensive. But whatever the final price, and there's some things that still need to be determined on that in the next few weeks, but whatever the price ends up being for that, we're going to set the price to be break even at 11 sets sold out of the 22 available to the public. And I keep saying things like will be made available or what's available to the public. We've got some sets that are going out as contributor copies. So that's what I'm talking about there, why I'm using that language. We are printing a few more that are going out to Jeffrey, and I'm getting one, and the designer will be getting, But 22 will be made available for sale to the public, and we break even at 11 of those sold. But the most important thing, I hope, is that we have made a hell of a thing here, and it's in my hand. I don't have to hope for that part. I know that. And there's been a lot of effort, and I'm putting myself on the line to make this the way it is, to make these choices that end up making a very special product. So I hope you all continue to be on board for thinking a special book deserves special treatment. And if you'll allow me just a bit of actual sleazy salesmanship. The pain of spending the money on the book is going to be a hell of a lot less than the pain of regret when they're all gone. And I know of what I speak because it's been kind of tight financially this year for me. So there have been some special edition things that have come out that I haven't been able to afford to get. And now they're all gone, and I'm just looking at the aftermarket prices. And get it while it's fresh for all of our sakes. And so people will start being able to get it this weekend at RopaCon, next weekend at Gen Con, and then hopefully within a couple weeks of me getting home after that. Later, everyone.